been a while. It's been a while since a lot has changed since the last time we did reviews. But I moved to Arkansas. Guys are still back in Louisiana. No, I didn't become a diehard Razorbacks fan, but I support the local team. But I was telling somebody at work, come time when they play the Tigers, dude, I'll root for them against any other team except LSU. LSU Tiger fan till I die. You know what I mean? It's been a while since we did reviews, as a group, the Whiskey Couyons, but we're still going to put out some whiskey videos. We just kind of do it at our own pace. I know Ryan's put a couple of them out. We're going to do one tonight. We're going to try to keep doing some stuff. I know we're going to get together, maybe do some whiskey nights here and there. I know I'm going to head down to Louisiana in November, and hopefully we can get together, do a couple of reviews, or maybe even do a whiskey night. We'll see how it goes. What else? Rating system. So I was talking to Ryan about the rating system. We originally did this 1 to 5, which 1 to 5 is not a bad, rating system. But the problem with that is so many whiskeys fall in the 3 range. So we had said a 1 was just like worst whiskey, almost like a drain pour whiskey, something you couldn't finish. Whereas a 5 was like phenomenal, almost unobtainable whiskey. 4 is something you really want to keep on the shelf, but with availability, can you really keep like really expensive stuff on the shelf? There's a 4, but 3 would fall in the middle is something you will buy again. The problem I have with that is so many whiskeys fall in that 3 category that you need something else that differentiates something you will buy again to something that's even better, right? 3.25 or whatever, it just really didn't do it justice. So I was talking about maybe we can do a 1 to 10. So that's what I've been doing, just trying different whiskeys myself personally and kind of putting my own little rating on it and doing like a 1 to 10. I know a lot of a lot of YouTube reviewers do like a 1 to 100, or maybe like a 50 to 100 or something like that, which that makes sense too. But I think a 1 to 10 actually does a whiskey justice to where it's a little bit more detailed and a little bit more detailed than a 1 to 5. But with that being said, I have a Benriach 10. So Benriach 10 is it's a 10-year Scotch from Speyside, Scotland. So it's a Speyside Scotch. The thing about the Benriach, it's changed. This distillery's changed hands a few times. So it's actually owned right now by Brown-Forman. So Brown-Forman owns Benriach. They bought Glendronach. But at one time, it was its own thing. It was just Benriach Distillery. It was owned by a few other, major whiskey entities at some point. But right now, it's owned by Brown-Forman. And at one time, Billy Walker was, well-known whiskey distiller, master distiller, who's currently at Glenallachie. But he was at Benriach and at Glendronach. He was the master distiller there. So these gray label bottles are from whenever Billy Walker was the master distiller at Benriach. So it's got Billy Walker master distiller right there. And these are disappearing. They're going away. I bought this one and I was blown away by this Benriach. Really blown away by it. So I made a point to try to have as many as I could. Ended up getting 2 more bottles of this as backups just because it's a phenomenal whiskey. It really is. I thought it set itself apart from other Speysides. It's really good. Benriach now, they have the original 10 and they got one called Smoky 10, but it's in a white, it's that white tin and a white label. But I was thinking to myself, like anytime you have a change of hands or a different master distiller, right? The master distiller is going to decide when the whiskey gets put into the certain cask, or when it gets put into a cask in general. But when it gets, say you have a bourbon cask and you're like, you know what, I'm going to taste it. Yeah. it's picked up enough bourbon flavor. Let's put it into a sherry cask, or let's just bottle it. You know what I mean? They make the decisions on that based on taste. So if you have a different master distiller, you can have a different. It's going to go at different times into barrels or into bottles. So the master distiller makes the rules like it's their game. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's going to change the taste of the whiskey. At least I would think. So, but yeah, Benriach, now owned by Brown-Forman. So it's, Billy Walker is not the head distiller. So it's going to change a little bit. That being said, I mean, the color on this for a 10-year whiskey, really good. For a 10-year whiskey, for a 10-year scotch, that is. Really good color on it. It's got a darker color. This is aged in ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and virgin oak casks. So I think the way they did this is virgin oak gives it a richness. It gives it color because you don't see too many 10 years with this color on it. 10-year scotches, that is. But that virgin oak definitely gives it some color. On the nose, you definitely get the pear and apple and the fruity notes from a typical Speyside, but it also has like a creaminess to it. It's almost like a vanilla cream custard almost. And you get like a sour note that it's not a bad sour note though. You would think that a sour note's bad, but it's a little off-putting for people that don't normally drink scotch, but I love it. It's pretty good. Very light oak. Really no spice, if any, on the nose, but it's a good good notes on the nose. So let's try the taste. So straight off the bat, fruity, definitely apple and pear. Same things, same notes you would get from the nose of it. The creaminess is there right after. And you also have some floral notes. There's a floral note and then some herbal notes, almost like a black tea or like a chamomile tea coming in right after the fruity notes. It's really good. It's got a lot of complexity. And it's good richness for a whiskey at just right at 43. So it's only 86 proof, right? 43%, but and it's got a richness to it for a whiskey at such a lower ABV at 43%. Yeah, very fruity. You definitely get those herbal notes right after. It goes into like an oaky note in the finish, but it's very light oak. I mean, it's a mostly used oak, but that little oak note that you get at the end is nice. It carries on through the finish. Fairly long finish for this whiskey, actually, for a 10-year whiskey, for a 10-year scotch. Fairly long finish. You get light little spices on the end, on the finish, but not a whole lot. You get light little spice notes with the oak that kind of carries along the finish. Really good whiskey though for a 10-year whiskey. Surprised the hell out of me actually. Really like overwhelmed at how good this 10-year scotch is. But like I said, I think it's the virgin oak cask, along with probably fairly fresh bourbon and sherry cask, that give this, the flavors that stand apart from other 10-year scotches out there. That actually is one of the better 10 years I've had. Right up there with like Springbank 10 and Glenallachie 10 cask strength is great. I mean, this is up there with those, but also those are higher ABVs. This is 43%, so it stands up for the proof it is. But yeah, phenomenal whiskey. So on the rating wise, love it. I will go with an 8.5 out of this one, which is really high score right off the bat on the new score. On the new scoring range, 8.5 out of 10. Really good though. Yeah, well over the would buy again. Like I said, would buy again on this one. On this scale, I would say maybe a 7. But yeah, I'll give this an 8.5. I've had the older Benriachs and the white label. Those would be in the high 7 range, 7.5, 7.75. But this is really good. This is definitely 8.5. It just has more of a richness. This is natural color, non-chill filtered also, by the way. I don't think Billy Walker's ever been the head distiller of a whiskey and it not be a natural color, non-chill filtered, but great stuff. Again, that's about it for this one. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out. We do things on TikTok here and there. That's about it for the Benriach, but we'll do more whiskey reviews here and there. So catch you on the next one.